I always thought my home was safe, but lately it felt strange. Dad barely looked at me and Sabrina. Well, she smiled too much when he was around and glared at me when his back was turned. One evening, as I walked into the kitchen, she gave me that cold look again. "You're late," she said. "I had practice," I replied. She sighed like I'd ruined her whole day. "Your father worries. You never think before you act." I didn't argue. It wasn't worth it. When Dad entered, she immediately softened her voice. "Daniel, he came home late again. I told him you would be upset." Dad just nodded. He didn't even ask me anything. "Dad, I texted you," I said. He shrugged. "I didn't see it." Sabrina wrapped her arm around him. "He forgets, sweetheart. You know how he is?" I stood there thinking, what did I do wrong? Dad used to laugh with me, talk with me, teach me things. Now he barely spoke. I tried to brush it off, but a part of me knew something wasn't right. Later that night, Lila knocked on my door. "Can I come in?" She whispered. "Sure." She slipped inside and sat on my bed. "Why is Sabrina always mean to you?" "I don't know," I answered, even though I had 1,000 theories. "She acts nice when Dad is here. But when he leaves, she talks bad about you." My stomach tightened. "What does she say?" Lila hesitated. "That you're lazy. That you don't respect Dad. That you don't care about this family." I laughed, but it was bitter. "Great. I told Dad once," she whispered. But Sabrina said I misunderstood. Wanted to tell her not to worry, but I couldn't pretend everything was fine anymore. The next day, I overheard Sabrina talking to my father in the living room. "I'm trying, Daniel," she said. "But he keeps pushing me away. I don't know what else to do." Dad exhaled heavily. "I don't know what's happening to him. He's not the same." My chest burned hearing that. I stepped into the room. "Dad, I'm right here. You can talk to me." Sabrina turned quickly. "We didn't want to upset you. And stop talking like I'm not in the house," I said. Dad frowned. "Don't start." I opened my mouth, but Sabrina grabbed his hand. "Please, Daniel, don't fight. I just want peace." I felt like screaming. She controlled every word, every moment, and he didn't even see it. That night, everything shattered. I had just come home when Sabrina stood in the hallway with a dramatic gasp. "Daniel." She shouted, "Come here." Dad rushed over. "What happened?" She pointed at the table. "The emergency money I kept in the drawer, it's gone." "What does that have to do with me?" She stepped closer. "You were the last one near that drawer." "No, I wasn't." Dad's eyes hardened. "Where is the money?" "Dad, are you serious?" Sabrina whispered. "I don't want to accuse him, but we have to be honest," I said. "You're accusing me without proof." Dad raised his voice. "Answer the question." "I didn't take anything." Sabrina leaned against him like she was scared. "Maybe he's stressed. Maybe he needed it and didn't know how to ask." My hands curled into fists. "Stop pretending you care." Dad shouted, "Enough. I can't keep dealing with this. If you made a mistake, just admit it." "I didn't," I said, my voice shaking. "But you already chose who to believe." No one said anything after that. I felt the air leave my chest. I walked to the door. Lila ran after me. "Don't go. I need space," I told her. My voice cracked. Sabrina stood behind Dad with a small, satisfied smile she thought I didn't see. I stepped outside, feeling something inside me collapse. "I'm done," I whispered. I spent the whole day walking around town, trying to calm the storm inside my head. When I finally came home that night, Sabrina greeted me with a fake smile. "Oh, you're back," she said sweetly. I didn't answer. Dad looked at me from the couch. "You didn't call." "I didn't think you'd care," I replied. He sighed. "Don't start again." Sabrina stepped between us. "Let's just eat." I made dinner, sat down, but she placed a tiny portion on my plate. "That's it?" I asked. She smiled. "I'm controlling everyone's diet. It's healthy." Dad nodded like it made sense. After dinner, I walked to my room. My door was half open. "Did you go inside my room?" I asked. Sabrina appeared behind me. "I cleaned it. I didn't ask you to." She shrugged. "You should be grateful someone takes care of you." I shut the door and dialed Rayon. Bro, where were you all day? He asked, walking, thinking, losing my mind. I said, what happened this time? They think I stole money. What? Why would they even think that? Sabrina said it, cursed under his breath. Man, she's messing with you. I know, I whispered. But Dad believes her every time. Then stay here tonight, he said. I need to see how far she goes. The next morning, I barely made it out of my room before Sabrina blocked my path. You're late for school, I know. Then hurry. Don't make your father worry again. I clenched my jaw. You don't have to control everything, she smiled. Someone has to. At school, Rayan walked beside me. You look like you didn't sleep, he said. I didn't. You need to tell your dad how you feel. He won't listen, I said. Every time I speak, she jumps in. Every time she speaks, he listens. So what do you want to do? I don't know, I admitted. I feel like a stranger in my own house. He put his hand on my shoulder. You're not crazy. She's doing it on purpose. I know. And you can't fight alone. I'm not asking anyone to fight. He shook his head. I'm helping whether you like it or not. When I got home, Sabrina was standing in the hallway again. You're late, she said. I had things to do. You should tell me next time. I don't owe you anything. Dad walked over. What's going on now? Nothing, I said. Sabrina sighed. He's becoming disrespectful, Daniel. Dad looked at me. Is that true? I just said one sentence. That's enough, Dad replied. I went to the kitchen to get food, but Sabrina stepped in front of me again. You ate already, she said. No, I didn't. I left a plate in your room. There's nothing in my room. She raised an eyebrow. Maybe you forgot. I felt trapped. Like every move I made was wrong because she said so. I walked into my room and froze. Drawers were open. My backpack was on the floor. Sabrina, I yelled. She walked in calmly. Why are you shouting? You went through my stuff again. I was organizing. No, you weren't. She looked at my father, who now stepped inside. Daniel, she said softly. I think I found something. She reached into my drawer and pulled out a silver watch. Dad's eyes widened. That's the watch I lost last month. I stared at her. I've never seen that before. Dad's voice dropped. Why was it in your drawer then? Because she put it there? I shouted. Sabrina gasped. How could you say that? Why would I do that? Dad looked at me with disappointment, sharper than a knife. Dad, please, I said quietly. I didn't do this, he shook his head. I don't know what to believe anymore. That hurt more than anything she could ever plant in my room. Dad called me into the living room with a voice I barely recognized. Sit down, he said. I stayed standing. He glared at me. What is wrong with you? You've changed. I haven't changed, I replied. You just don't listen anymore. Sabrina touched his arm. Daniel, please, don't get angry. He stressed, felt my chest tighten. Stop acting like you care, Dad snapped. Enough. I stepped back. Dad, listen to me for once, Sabrina cut in with trembling lips. I try so hard, but he keeps attacking me. I never attacked you, I said. Dad shouted, you're becoming a problem in this house. My voice cracked. I'm only a problem because she says I am. Sabrina wiped non-existent tears. Why would I lie, Daniel? I love this family. Hearing that almost made me laugh. Dad pointed at me. You disrespect her every day. I don't, I said, my throat burning. I just want you to see what she's doing, Sabrina whispered. I can't do this anymore. He hates me. I don't hate you, I said. I just want the truth. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Then tell the truth. Why do things keep going missing around you? Because she puts them there. Sabrina gasped, like I'd stabbed her. Daniel, he's blaming me again. Lila rushed into the room crying. Dad, stop yelling at him. Dad turned to her sharply. Go to your room. No. She cried harder. She's lying. She's always lying. Sabrina shook her head slowly. Lila, sweetheart, I would never hurt you. Stop talking to her. I snapped. Dad roared. Don't you dare shout at her. I felt the floor drop beneath me. Why can't you see what's happening? I tried again. Dad, just listen, please. Sabrina stepped closer to him. He scares me, Daniel. My mouth fell open. What? Dad's eyes blazed with disappointment. I don't even recognize you anymore. The man who taught me how to ride a bike, how to stand up for myself, how to be honest, couldn't even look at me. He shook his head. You're out of control. I'm not, I whispered. I'm hurting, Sabrina whispered louder. He's manipulating you. Lila grabbed my arm. Don't let them do this. Dad pointed upstairs again. Lila, go to your room now. She flinched and ran upstairs crying. I stood alone, feeling cornered, trapped between two people who used to be my family and the woman who destroyed everything. Dad, I said softly, you're choosing her lies over my truth, Sabrina whispered. Daniel, I can't live like this. Maybe he needs time away. Dad rubbed his face. Maybe he does. My heart froze. What do you mean? You need to leave for a few days, he said heavily, until you fix whatever this behavior is. I stared at him. You're kicking me out? I'm giving you space, he replied. Sabrina looked down, pretending to be sad, but I saw the satisfaction in her eyes. I nodded slowly. Fine. Dad didn't say another word. I walked to the door with nothing but my phone and the clothes. I had on, every step felt heavier than the last. As I stepped outside, anger and heartbreak twisted inside me until I couldn't tell which one burned worse. Rayan, I just need a minute to breathe, I muttered as I paced his living room. He watched me quietly, letting me burn through my panic. I hated how shaken I sounded. But staying with him these past days was the only thing keeping me from falling apart. Then breathe, he said softly. You don't have to rush anything. I know, I whispered, rubbing my face. I need to grab some clothes from home. If I go fast and quiet, she won't even know I was there, he frowned. You sure you want to go alone? I'll be fine, I lied, and we both knew it. But he didn't stop me when I reached my house. I pushed the door open slowly, heart pounding like I was sneaking into a stranger's place. The lights were still on. Sabrina wasn't asleep. I froze near the hall when I heard her voice, sharp, sweet, fake. No, Victor, relax, she laughed. He believes everything I say. Honestly, it's pathetic. My stomach dropped. I stepped back, hiding in the shadow near the stairs. I told him his father needed help, she continued, her tone dripping with amusement. He fell for it instantly. And the old man? My God, he practically hands me whatever I want. My throat tightened. I pressed a hand over my mouth to keep from making a sound. No, listen, she said, lowering her voice. When we're done, he won't have anything left to question. His father trusts me, and trust is all I need. After that, we take what we planned and disappear. You'll finally get your share. Victor. The name hit me like a punch. My skin burned with rage, but my feet refused to move. She kept talking, giggling like she was discussing something harmless. Yes, baby, of course I miss you. But you know, I can't exactly call you whenever I want. The sun keeps snooping around. But don't worry. By next month, everything will be ready. My hands curled into fists. I could feel my pulse in my teeth. Then she said it calmly, casually, like it was nothing. Of course I lied. About all of it. His father isn't sick. I told him that to get him off my back, and he bought it like a child. My vision blurred. I wasn't breathing anymore. I edged closer, peeking around the corner just enough to see her pacing the living room like she owned it. Her smile was cruel, rehearsed. Yes, Victor, she sighed. I'll bring the documents tonight. He won't even notice they're missing. Documents. I swallowed hard, panic crashing over me. Which documents? She moved toward my father's office. I followed silently, every step trembling. She slipped inside and turned on the desk lamp. I watched as she opened drawers she had no right touching, pulling files out one by one. My father's handwriting flashed before my eyes. Contracts, bank papers, legal files he always guarded closely. So easy, she whispered to herself. Too easy. I wanted to storm in. I wanted to scream. but something told me to stay hidden, to keep listening. She tucked the documents into her bag and strutted out, humming like nothing had happened. I backed away, gripping the staircase railing to steady myself. My chest hurt. My head burned. I felt like a part of me broke right there. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a plan, and she had been playing all of us from the beginning. I left the house in silence, my hands shaking as I locked the door behind me. Tonight. I don't know what to do, I told Rayan the moment he opened the door. My voice cracked, and I hated how weak it sounded. He shut the door behind me. What happened now? You look like you're about to fall apart, I heard her, I said, breathing hard. Sabrina. She was on the phone. She admitted everything lying, manipulating my dad, stealing documents, working with some guy named Victor. Rayan's eyes widened. You're serious? I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, I muttered. I don't know if I should tell Dad or gather proof first. Rayan leaned against the counter. If you tell him now without evidence, she twisted. You know she will. Exactly, I said. I want revenge, but I need justice. I need something solid. So we build a case, he replied. Quiet, clean, no mistakes. I nodded slowly. Yeah, a silent war. A good one, he said. Start by tracking her calls. Can you access her phone? My dad trusts her with everything, I said. Her phone is always lying around somewhere, and that's step one, he said. We find Victor. The next morning, I returned home pretending I only came for clothes. Sabrina barely looked up from her tablet. Did you need something? She asked sweetly. No, I said, keeping my tone flat. Just grabbing essentials. She shrugged and went back to scrolling. I slipped past her and into the hallway, my heart hammering. When she left the living room to answer a call, I moved fast. Her phone sat on the table with the screen still lit. Come on, I whispered, opening her call history. Dozens of calls to one number saved under V. I snapped pictures. My hands shook, but not from fear, something sharper. Colder power dot. When she returned, I was already upstairs pretending to fold clothes. She didn't suspect a thing. Later, I met Rayan outside his car. Got the number? He grinned. Good. Now documents. She must be hiding something. She is, I said. Last night, she took files from my father's office. Then we find where she hides them. I waited until she left for her usual yoga class. I slipped into her room, avoiding every squeaky spot on the floor. I searched drawers, shelves, bags, nothing. Then I noticed her makeup case. Too heavy for cosmetics? I opened it. Got you. I breathed. Inside were sealed folders, bank statements, contracts, legal drafts, all belonging to my father. I photographed everything. Every page. Every signature she planned to forge. When I heard the front door unlock, I barely had time to return everything before she called out, Are you home? In the kitchen. I shouted back, heart slamming. She walked in and smiled. You're cooking? Trying to, I said. It worked. She suspected nothing. Later that night, Rayan and I sat in his car. Reviewing the photos, this is enough to blow her up completely, he said. Not yet, I replied. She's still planning something bigger. I scrolled through the last photos I'd taken, papers tucked under a folder labeled Board Authorization, Emergency Transfer. My father's signature was missing, but the line was ready. What? Is that? Rayan whispered. I exhaled slowly. A forged transfer. She's planning to take full control of my father's company. And that was the moment my silent war truly began. I need to talk to you, I whispered to Lila as she walked past my room. She stopped immediately, her eyes red from crying. Is Dad still mad at you? She asked softly. He doesn't know the truth, I said. But you will. She hesitated. What truth? I closed the door and pulled out my phone. Just sit, please. She sat on the edge of my bed, hands shaking. What is this about? I showed her the first recording, Sabrina, laughing, bragging about manipulating Dad. Lila's jaw dropped. No, That can't be real, she choked. It is, I said. Listen. The more she heard, the more she broke. She lied. About everything? Yes. My voice tightened. She never cared about Dad. She never cared about us. Lala covered her mouth as tears streamed down her cheeks. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I didn't want to drag you into it, I said. But I need you to know the truth before things get worse. She shook her head. I thought she loved me. I thought she cared. She used all of us, I whispered. But we're going to stop her. How? She asked, wiping her tears. I'm talking to someone today, I said. Someone Dad trusts. Later that afternoon, I walked into the old office building where Uncle Harris worked. He looked surprised when he saw me. Boy, you look like you've been through hell, he said. Sit down. I need your help, I said. Not as my uncle, but as Dad's partner, he leaned forward. What happened? I pulled out my phone again. You need to hear this. The moment Sabrina's voice filled the room, his expression hardened. His eyes narrowed with each sentence she spoke. That woman, he muttered, gripping the desk, has been trying to push me out for months. Your father refused to believe it. She's working with someone, I said. Victor, I have call logs, documents, pictures. And she's planning a forged transfer. He looked up sharply. A transfer of what? Dad's company? I said. Into her control. Harris exhaled slowly. Your father is blind, son. But I'm not. Show me everything. I laid out every photo. I had documents from her makeup box, call logs, screenshots, everything. He studied each one carefully. This is enough to start, he said, but not enough to finish her. I know, I replied. That's why I came to you. Harris nodded. We'll track her finances. That woman isn't doing this for love. She's doing it for money. That night, I sat beside Harris in his office as he typed furiously. There, he said. Look at this. On the screen were two unfamiliar bank accounts, both under fake names, but linked to Sabrina's ID. She's draining your father dry, or said. Small amounts, but steady. Hidden transfers. I clenched my fists. How long has she been doing this? Months, he replied. Maybe longer. We have to stop her, I said. And we will, he promised. When I went home later, I felt strangely calm, strong. Ready, Sabrina noticed instantly. She walked up to me with that sugary fake smile. You're home early. Feeling better? I'm fine, I said casually. Her eyes flickered nervous. Did you eat? I made dinner. Not hungry, I replied. Brushing past her, she followed me. You've been distant lately. Is something wrong? No, I said again with a straight face. She froze. She could feel it. My silence wasn't weakness anymore. It terrified her that night. I heard her whispering urgently to my father, faking concern, pushing him, controlling him, but this time, she slipped. Her voice cracked. Her mask finally fractured, and for the first time she looked scared of me. I watched my father pacing the living room, frowning at a folder Sabrina had left carelessly on the table. Daniel, she said sweetly, I told you, it's nothing. Just minor paperwork mistakes. Minor mistakes? Dad muttered, flipping through the pages. This doesn't add up. Stayed quiet in the corner, letting the tension build. Maybe he's just stressed, Sabrina added quickly. Or confused. Or maybe someone is hiding the truth, Dad said, pausing. He looked at her. Why do these numbers keep changing every week? She hesitated. I must have made a miscalculation. I could see the flicker of panic in her eyes. Finally. Later, I overheard her whispering to Victor on the phone. He's noticing things. Do something. Relax, I imagined Victor saying. Just keep up the act. She wasn't relaxed. She started blaming me for everything. He's been sneaking around again, she told Dad. I'm telling you, he's lying, stealing, causing trouble. I clenched my fists, but spoke calmly. Dad, maybe you should check the files yourself before believing someone's story. Her face twisted. What are you talking about? Check the ledger. Check the accounts, I said. Everything you have in your office is easy to verify. Dad's eyes narrowed as he scanned the papers. I saw the first shadow of doubt cross his face. Are you sure she didn't manipulate these? I asked. You should double check. Sabrina's voice quivered. I don't know. Maybe he's right, Daniel. She cut herself off, realizing Dad was watching her at the company. Harris had already started exposing small discrepancies tied to her. He called me after a meeting. You should see her, he whispered over the phone. She's panicking. Tiny mistakes, minor transfers, but everyone traces back to her. I've already flagged them. Good, I said. Keep her under the microscope. Make it undeniable. Back at home, I kept my distance, watching Sabrina unravel. She tried manipulating Dad harder, pleading, crying, smiling, panicking. You don't understand, she said. He's exaggerating. I'm just trying to help. He hesitated. He didn't believe her fully this time. I felt a strange weight lift inside me. Years of anger, heartbreak, and betrayal all focused on this moment. Seeing doubt in Dad's eyes felt like breathing again. You're lying, he said quietly, almost to himself. I need to see everything, Sabrina gasped. Daniel didn't intervene, just stayed calm, letting her panic grow. That night, I set up my phone near the living room. You idiot. I heard her yell at Victor. You said we'd wait. Why did you transfer it today? I told you, Victor shouted. I'm tired of waiting. We take it now or lose everything. She slammed the table. No, my plan. My control. I held my phone steady, recording everything. Every word, every lie, every betrayal. Finally, I knew exactly what I had, and my silent war was about to enter the final phase. I sat across from my father in his office, my hands shaking as I placed the folder on his desk. Dad, I need you to look at something. He sighed. Not now. I'm tired, and Sabrina, this isn't about her feelings, I cut in. It's about the truth you refused to see. His eyes darkened. Watch your tone. I swallowed hard. Just listen to one thing. One recording. If you still think I'm wrong, I'll walk out and never bring it up again. He hesitated, then nodded. Fine, one. I pressed play. Sabrina's voice filled the room instantly. You idiot. You said we'd wait. Why did you transfer it today? Victor replied, we take it now or lose everything. Dad stiffened. What is this? Keep listening, I whispered. Sabrina shouted again. No. My plan, my control, Daniel is too easy. He believes every tear I fake. I heard Dad suck in a breath like someone punched him. No, he muttered. She can't. I placed more documents on the desk. Look at the dates. The bank transfers. The signatures she forged. The meetings with Victor. The files she took from your office. He pushed the papers away. Stop. This is insane. It's real, I said. And deep down you know it is. He stared at the floor for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked. Play it again, I did, watching his face turn white as a sheet. When the recording ended, he leaned back, covering his face. I've been a fool, Dad. No, don't speak. He trembled. I failed you. I failed this family. For the first time, I didn't feel anger, only sadness. After several minutes, he lowered his hands. We end this tomorrow. I want her lies exposed in front of everyone she tried to destroy. I nodded. Then, let's set the trap. The next evening, the dining table felt like a stage waiting for a disaster. Sabrina greeted Dad with a smile. You look tired, Daniel. Is something wrong? No, he replied calmly. I just want to talk about a few things. Her smile tightened. Of course. We sat. Lila quietly poked her food, sensing the tension. Dad looked straight at Sabrina. I checked the company accounts today. She froze for half a second, then recovered. Oh, did you find the mistakes I told you about? Yes, he said. But they don't look like mistakes. She laughed nervously. Daniel, please. I manage a lot. Anyone can make errors. What about the missing money? He asked. Her fork clattered on the plate. Missing? What missing? If something disappeared, it must be your son. He's always sneaking around. I leaned back. Really? She glared at me. You need to stop twisting everything. Dad continued softly. And the name Victor? Does that ring any bells? Her face went stone still. I don't know anyone by that name, you don't? Dad said no. She forced a smile. Why would I? I slowly pulled my phone from my pocket. What are you doing? She snapped. Playing something? I said. It might help your memory. Don't you dare, but I already pressed play. Her own voice echoed through the dining room, you idiot. You said we'd wait. Why did you transfer it today? Victor's voice followed. We take it now or lose everything. Sabrina shot up from her chair. Turn that off. That audio is fake. Dad whispered, it's your voice. Oh, it's edited. He hates me. He wants to ruin us. Lila burst into tears. Mom, how could you? Sabrina reached for her. Baby, no. Listen. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Enough. Stop lying. She flinched. Daniel, I swear you stole from me. You've played us. You used my family, my trust. His voice broke. You broke my son. I felt my throat tighten, but I stayed silent. She pointed at me desperately. He set me up. He wants to destroy this family. This family? Dad whispered. You destroyed it yourself. For the first time since she entered our lives, Sabrina had no words. No tears, no excuses. Her perfect world collapsed right in front of us, and I watched it fall piece by piece. I watched from the hallway as Dad approached Sabrina. His steps were slow, deliberate. Sabrina, he said quietly, you need to leave now. Her eyes widened. Daniel, please, no. He cut her off. Pack your things. You're done here. I could see the panic start to rise in her chest. Her perfectly practiced smile cracked, and for the first time she looked small. Wait, I can explain. She shouted, voice trembling. Dad didn't flinch. There's nothing left to explain. Leave. Stayed back, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and emptiness. This was the woman who had destroyed my childhood, yet she looked helpless now. She fell to her knees. Daniel, I made a mistake. I didn't mean. Dad walked past her as if she didn't exist. Lila peeked around the corner whispering, he's finally seeing her for who she really is. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Yeah, finally. Harris called me later. We froze her accounts, he said. She won't touch the company again. That's good, I said. What about Victor? He's gone. Left the moment things went public, Harris replied. She's alone now. I felt a pang in my chest despite everything. Alone. She finally had to face the consequences. When Sabrina tried to talk to Dad again, I was there to see it. Daniel, please. I never meant to hurt anyone, she said, tears streaming. He didn't answer. He just turned and walked away, leaving her staring after him. I stayed behind, my own tears threatening to fall. Goodbye, Sabrina, I whispered under my breath. And good riddance. Leela came up to me. It's over, she said softly. Yeah, I said, finally letting myself breathe. But even as relief washed over me, I couldn't help feeling sad. Sad that this woman had taken so much from us. Then Dad came over, placing a hand on my shoulder. I'm sorry, he said, voice low and sincere. I froze. Dad, he pulled me into a hug. I should have listened sooner. I should have seen it all before it went too far. I broke down, letting the tears flow. I missed you so much, I whispered. I know, he said. I missed you too. We stayed like that for a long moment. Years of hurt and anger finally softened by understanding. Later that evening, Harris called again. The board is taking action. Sabrina's name is being exposed online for attempted fraud. Every document, every transfer, everything is public now. I leaned back in my chair. Finally, she can't hide anymore. And your father? Harris asked. He's better, stronger, finally awake, I said. And so am I. The next day, news alerts started popping up on my phone. Screenshots of transactions, recordings, and forged documents filled social media. Her name was trending. I stared at it, feeling a mix of satisfaction, closure, and lingering sorrow. She had built her perfect world, and now it was gone. But this time, I wasn't afraid anymore. I had my family back. Dad had his eyes open, and for the first time in years, I felt safe. Sabrina's downfall wasn't just justice. It was a storm that cleansed everything she had poisoned. I took a deep breath and whispered, "It's finally over." The house felt different without her. Quieter, lighter, and somehow safer. I walked through the front door and saw Leela sitting on the sofa, coloring her hair still messy from sleep. "Hey," said softly. She looked up, a tentative smile forming. "Hey," she replied. "I didn't think you'd come home so early. I wanted to," I said, dropping my bag. "Just wanted to see you." She shuffled closer. "It's weird. Without her," I nodded, sitting beside her. "It's going to take time, but we're going to be okay." Lila leaned on my shoulder. "You don't know how much I missed you." "I missed you too," I whispered. Her small hand in mine reminded me what I was fighting for, not revenge, but family. The next days, I threw myself into restoring Dad's company. Harris was invaluable, guiding me through financial reports, restructuring plans, and meetings. "Look at these numbers," Harris said one morning. "With her gone, we can fix this in months, but you've got to stay focused." "I will," I said. "No mistakes this time. Not like before." "Good. You've grown," he remarked. "More patient, more determined." I allowed myself a small smile. I've had motivation. Every meeting reminded me how much control Sabrina had tried to steal. But now, with every corrected account, every recovered contract, I felt my power returning. One evening, Dad came into my office, his hand on my shoulder. "I've been meaning to say I'm sorry," he said. I froze. "Dad, for doubting you? For letting her come between us? I should have listened." I swallowed hard. "It's okay. We're here now. That's what matters." He smiled, a warmth I hadn't felt in years. "Yes, that's what matters." I looked around, my office files organized, the company slowly regaining stability, and realized something. I wasn't the same boy who had run out of the house in anger months ago. I was stronger now, smarter, more aware, confident. Weeks passed. Lila started laughing again. Dad shared dinners without hesitation, and even the small, everyday moments like picking up groceries or watching a movie together felt precious. I was rebuilding my life piece by piece. Then, one afternoon, a message appeared on my phone. "I need to see you, please, Sabrina." I stared at the screen, hands tightening around the phone. Months had passed. She wanted forgiveness, redemption, maybe a second chance. I walked to the door and saw her waiting. She looked smaller now, fragile, her usual arrogance replaced with hesitation. "Why are you here?" I asked, keeping my tone calm. She swallowed. I made mistakes. I want to apologize." I raised a hand. "Stop." She blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" "You taught me what betrayal looks like," I said slowly. "You taught me how to survive it. You tried to crush me, but I'm not that boy anymore." Her lips trembled. I just wanted to..." "You wanted forgiveness," I said. "But that's your choice, not mine." I turned away, feeling the weight of months of fear, anger, and pain finally lift. "I don't hate you anymore. I've moved on. I've rebuilt my life. And now, you face the consequences of yours." She opened her mouth, but I didn't look back. I walked toward the living room, toward Dad and Lila, toward the life I had taken back. Her footsteps faded behind me. I could hear her whisper my name, but I didn't respond. I stopped at the doorway, watching Leela draw, and Dad read a report. Laughing at a shared joke, I smiled a real smile, and realized something. I wasn't just reclaiming the company or my family. I was reclaiming myself, for the first time in years. I felt whole, strong, free. Sabrina would face the life she had built through lies, manipulation, and greed. And I I had my life back. I whispered to myself just loud enough to hear, "This is mine. Everything I lost I've taken back, and I'm not letting go again." Lila waved at me. Dad smiled. I stepped fully into the room, letting them both see me strong, confident, finally at peace. The storm was over, and I was the one standing tall.